This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Hi friends, good evening. So in this Edu Databricks Master Program, this is our 13th session. In this session, we will see read CSV files efficiently in Spark. So how we can read CSV files efficiently in Spark, we are going to understand. So you can normally read the CSV files, okay? But so when you are reading CSV file, what are the different options we have? Okay, so which options we can use, which options you should not use. So how you will get a efficiency while you are reading the CSV files. Okay, so what happens is if you don't know which parameters not to use while you are reading the file, you will try to read large data. So you will end up with performance issues. So we are going to avoid all such type of issues by understanding so which parameters or which flags we need to use, which flags we should not use, but what is the replacement. So example, so there are some flags that I need to use, but if I use those flags I will have some issues. So how I can avoid using such type of flags? Instead of that, what I need to use, what is the alternative? So all such type of things we are going to discuss. So we are completely focused on reading CSV files today. So there are two syntaxes to read CSV files. So we will try to understand completely by using these two syntaxes how we can read these CSV files. In real time, what happens? You will have multiple CSV files in a folder. You need to read multiple CSV files, not single CSV file. So we are going to understand how to read single CSV file, how to read multiple CSV files. Each and everything we will try to deep dive. Okay. Now we'll see what we will learn in today's session. We will learn PySpark by using PySpark read CSV files into data frame. So how we can read CSV files into data frame by using PySpark. So here we are going to read single file. How to read single file? Read all CSV files in a directory. So how we can read multiple files which we have in a directory. Okay, these two things are very important. Next, while you are reading the files, there are some options available. What are these options? The example, understand what is the delimiter. Anybody know what is delimiter here? Anybody know what is delimiter here? Debashish, Abhishek, Netra, anybody know? I'm waiting for answer. Exactly, very good. Abhishek, separator. Okay, so exactly, it's a separator. So between each word, okay, example, one customer he is entering his details, his ID, his name, his phone number, his designation, and his salary or something. All these details he is entering. While he is entering all these details, he is going to put some comma. If you put comma, delimiter is comma. So based on that comma, you are going to understand there is a separation. There are separate words here. Okay. Example, while he is entering, he is using something called tab space. Okay, tab. If he is using the tab, so delimiter is going to be tab. Next, while he is entering these details, he may use something called pipe. Okay, so delimiter is going to become a pipe. Okay, remember. Next, what is info schema? So this particular flag, this particular option is available even in the Azure Data Factory. When we learn Azure Data Factory, we have seen info schema. So info schema means what happens is you will have data. So from that data you want to understand what is the data type of each column. What is the data type of each column you want to understand. How you know what is the data type of each column is Spark by default consider each and every column as a string. So now explicitly, now what happened is you read the data. By default it will consider everything is a string. If you want to identify what is the data type of all the columns, what is the data type of each column in your file, then you need to use a flag option called info schema equal to true. What it means is you are telling to Spark, hey Spark, can you scan all the data and identify what is the data type of each column. Okay, next. Okay, so our third option is header equal to true. What it means is, example, you have customer ID, customer name, and customer location, customer phone number, something like that. There are 4 columns. So under that headers, you are going to enter data. By default, when you are reading CSV files, these headers will go into your data. Though these headers will appear in your data, and you will see a default headers with underscore C0 will be your first column, underscore C1 is your second header name, underscore C2 is going to be your third header name. So something like that, default values will come, your actual headers will go into the data. Now what you need to do, you need to explicitly say that there is a first row in my file, that row is not actually data, it's a headers. So that particular information you need to pass explicitly. To pass that explicitly, you need to say header equal to true. So there are headers in your file. So sometimes what happens, there are some CSV files which will not have any headers, okay, which will not have any headers. So you need to create headers. You need to give the headers later. Okay, so we will see that as well next. Okay, in everybody's clear on these things. Let's see. The third thing is here: read CSV files with a user specified schema. Okay, what is user specified schema? If you remember in this option info schema, what is happening in info schema? You first read the data. By default all columns are string. When you use info schema equal to true, again my Spark is scanning entire data, it is reading entire data again to identify the each column data type. So why I need to enter each column, like why I need to read large amount of data to identify the each column of data, each column of data type. So it will be a big chart, like it's very inefficient if you do that. Okay, you will have a lot of performance issues. So to avoid such type of issues, what we need to do is we need to provide a schema. We need to hard code the schema. We know what is the data type of first column we are expecting, what is the data type of second column we are expecting. So we need to pass this particular user specified schema dynamically. So for each table you can prepare a schema and you can pass it dynamically. So when you are reading a CSV file, you can tell a Spark, you just identify, you no need to scan the data to identify data type of each column. I already know the data type of each column. Please consider a given data type, a given specified schema. Okay, from the given specified schema, identify the data type of each column you are going to type. Okay, whatever I have given explanation, each and everything I am going to prove it now. Okay, now let's go and do the. We will just let me give few more details about delimiter, info schema, and header. Then we will see different types of syntaxes which we have. Finally, then we will go and start our learning. Okay, let's start. Options while reading CSV file. Okay, so options while reading CSV file. So what are those options? We just discussed. Not only these are the most important options, but still there are some more options which you can use based on your requirement, based on demand. But these three are very, very important. If you see any code, wherever people are using CSV files in real time, they must and should, they will use these three options for sure. Okay, that's why these three we are going to discuss, but I will discuss other options also at the end of CSV files discussion. Okay, because CSV files discussion will go at least 3 to 4 classes. We need to discuss a lot. Next, so let's discuss what is delimiter. Okay, delimiter option is used to specify the column delimiter of the CSV file. By default, it is comma character, but can be set to any character as this option. Okay. Okay. What it means is use this option, character, use this option as by mistake. Okay. Fine. So here you need to understand by default, if I am not saying delimiter equal to comma or delimiter equal to pipe, if I am not specifying explicitly what is the default delimiter, the default delimiter is comma. Okay, next, info schema. The default value set to this option is false. What it means? we are going to tell a Spark don't scan data to identify data type of each column. So that's how we are going to tell by default. The default value set to this option is false. Info schema equal to false means you are saying don't scan my data to identify data type of each column. Okay, but when setting to true, if you set it to true, it automatically infer column types based on the data. Okay, it is going to identify column types based on the data. How it is going to identify based on the data? So note that it requires reading the data one more time to infer the schema. So if you are reading again same data, how much time it is going to take? It is going to take more time. I don't want to scan again my data to identify the data type. That's why I'm going to define my own schema, that is user defined schema I'm going to provide. So how to provide that, everything we will learn. Now the third option is header. This option is used to read the first line of CSV file as column names. So why we are using this option? This option is used to read the first line of the CSV files as column names. By default, the value of this option is false. So by default, this option is also set as false. In that case, what happens? What are the headers for that particular file? Underscore C0, underscore C1, underscore C2, underscore C3, and so on. Okay, and all columns types are assumed to be string. Okay, why all column types are assumed to be string? Because here the info schema we are setting as false. What it means is the data type is basically string. So that's why all column types are assumed to be string. But if you set it to true, then all columns may not be string. Okay, based on the value in your file, data type of that particular column will define. Okay, so I will show you each and every option in detail, don't worry. But as of now, any questions? Abhishek, Manohar, Devendra, Debashish, Netra. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. So, syntax for reading CSV file. This is my first syntax. Okay. See here, Spark. It's nothing but a Spark session. Okay. Read is nothing but I'm going to read a file. What type of file it is? It's a CSV file. From which location you are trying to read? So I am trying to read that particular file from this particular location. Okay, source main resource zip codes dot csv, something like that. Okay, next header equal to true, I am saying. Info schema equal to true, I am saying. Separator equal to comma, I am saying. Schema equal to schema. This schema I am specifying explicitly. So remember one thing, I just mentioned all the options available here, but whenever you are saying info schema equal to true, you should not use schema equal to schema. Meaning you are providing data type of each column explicitly. When you are providing data type of each column explicitly, why you need to again ask Spark to read data and identify the data type of each column? That you no need to do. That's why what I'm saying is you can use either of this option, info schema equal to true or schema equal to schema. So but I just mentioned all the options to let you know that these are the most commonly used options. Okay, this is the first syntax. In this you can use all these options for header, info schema, separator, schema, or you can avoid mentioning all these things. If we avoid mentioning all these things, what will happen? Anybody can guess? Something default. I'm giving some clue. There is something called default. What is the default? Tell me, Manu. Okay, so something called default value. Header is going to be false by default. Info schema is false by default. Separator is comma by default. Okay, schema will not come. So schema you need to mention explicitly, otherwise it will not consider anything. It will consider as a null. Okay, now so this is your first syntax. I hope everybody is clear on this syntax. Let me move on to. Okay, now we will look into our second syntax. Now second syntax you can see Spark.read.format. So Spark is nothing but a Spark session. We are reading. What what format of file? It's a CSV. Header, do you have headers in the file? If you have headers, you can say header equal to true. Info schema equal to true. Do you know the schema, or you want to read, you want Spark to read data once again to identify the schema? Next option, what is the delimiter in your file, whether it is a comma or pipe or tab, whatever it is. Okay, based on that you need to mention. Now schema. So do you know the schema already? If you know schema, you can mention explicitly. Otherwise, you can use this option, info schema equal to true. As I said, either of this option you need to use, info schema equal to true or schema. Okay. Next. So from which location I want to read the file? Load. I want to load file from this particular location. Okay. So this is how you need to use these two syntaxes to read the file, but there is no difference between these two syntaxes. You can use any of the syntax to read the file. Okay, that's all. Any questions, friends, in this particular slides? So I will move on to our practicals, but any questions here as of now?
So is there any row delimiter, Malaya? Column delimiter we are giving actually. Row delimiter, anything we have to mention, or how it is? How this particular things will came to know that what is the row delimiter? How it will read the first, second, third line?
So row delimiter is by default a new line.
Yes, yes. Actually, why I'm telling in practically some cases how it is coming actually. Sometimes due to some wrong record came actually. So the row delimiter they by mistake missed actually. So both the line happened in the same line actually. Some issue came actually. So the
In that,
when the
what
data
you,
were yeah.
I understood. So in that case, you cannot put role delimiter. So if you put role delimiter, what it is going to understand is entire data is available in a single row. So it will try to like split all those things. So there will be a problem. So whenever you have some kind of a corrupted file, you need to read the data and carefully you need to handle the data. Okay, that's all. You simply for handling one line, if you try to use some delimiters, it will cause a problem for the rest of the data in your file. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Any other questions, friends? Yeah. Okay, so let's see now. Let me log in into our portal.edge.com. Okay, I just logged in automatically. Let me create a Azure Databricks. Click on this. I will create quickly. Just click add to create Azure Databricks. Create. Okay, here I can say Outman with Azure Databricks workspace. I want to launch it in East-US, so you can select East-US. Okay, you know all these things. So we discussed multiple times, and the pricing tier where whatever you want you can go, but if you go with premium you'll get role-based access control. I don't want that for now, so I don't have my own virtual network. I'm just leaving blank. Click tags. If you want to give any key value pairs you can give, otherwise leave them blank and review plus grade. Validation succeeded, you can create the database workspace. It will take some time. Okay, let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so meanwhile I will show you the data. So with what data we are going to work today. So I just prepared some more CSV files. So these are the comma separated files. Okay, next these are the pipe separated files. Like these are the tab separated files. So now let's click on comma separated files. Let me open one by one. So you just double click on this. You see here 1 186 10. So a player ID, I just mentioned some cricket players. Okay, player ID, player name, and player highest score, number of matches, something like that. So I have some 4 columns and some data I put. So this is my CSV file 1. So in this CSV file 1, I have records from 1 to 5. So if I open CSV file 2, I have records from 6 to 10. So total, each file is having 5 records. Total 2 files is having 10 records. Now, if you go with the set file with pipe delimiter, right? So just open with edit notepad++. So here you can able to see how the data is looks like. So you can see player ID, player name, player highest score, number of matches. But these records starting from 11, okay, 11 to 15. So this is what pipeline file 1.csv. I'm just opening our pipeline file 2.csv. You can see this is from 16 to 20. So pipeline files is having, there are 2 pipeline files. So each file is having 5 records. These records are starting from 11 and ending till 20. Okay, up to 20 we have records. Now let me open our third set of files, that is set tab. So tsv file 1.csv, tsv, it's a .tsv. It's basically tab separated value. You can see here tab space, tab space, tab space. Okay, tab space, tab space. All these are tab space separated values. Okay, so everything I have created, it will be difficult to get it from online, so I just prepared myself. You can see these are the like 26 to 30, but this one previous file is having 20 to 25. So total these TSV files are starting from 21 and up to 30 we have a TSV files, and TSV files also we have 2. Each file is having 5 records. Okay, clear? Got some idea on what file, what types of files we are going to work. So our Azure Databricks is ready now. Just click on go to resource. Come down, just click on launch workspace. Okay, you can see my Azure Databricks is open workspace. So first thing we need to do is we need to create a cluster. Come here, just click on create a cluster for now. So I want to create a cluster. How to create a cluster? Cloud Monday demo. Okay. So we know high concurrency when you want to execute multiple jobs parallelly. Standard if you want to execute jobs in sequence. Single node if you want to have a single server which is going to act as driver and worker. So let's select a single node, and I don't want to use pool. Okay. Now Databricks runtime, as we know, Databricks runtime is nothing but a core component that you are installing on the servers. So if you select ML runtime, all required modules for your ML will be installed on the servers. If you select genomics, all biomedical data processing related modules will be installed on the servers. If you select normal runtime, you will get a you will not get the ML or biomedical related modules. You will get all generic modules. Okay. Next. So as we are selecting single node, you don't have auto scaling option, which we have discussed previously. Now auto termination. So you can tell if the cluster is inactive for about 60 minutes. I want to terminate this. I don't want to run this. I don't want to leave this particular cluster just like that, because I need to save the cost. For saving cost, you need to terminate this cluster if nobody is submitting on nobody is submitting job on this cluster. Okay. So what kind of server you want? This is the configuration of server I'm taking. Just click create cluster to create the cluster. Now, meanwhile, cluster creates, come to workspace. So we know we already created cluster, we created folders, everything, moved data from local to Azure Database workspace. So everything we have done it by using CLI. So now we are going to do everything from a portal. Okay, so now you see like from UI we are trying to do everything now. So I created a cluster from UI now. So from workspace you can see, click on this, create. Let's create a one folder. Okay, this one you can say Cloud Pandit folder. In this Cloud Pandit folder, select this folder. Inside this folder, I want to create a one notebook. Create. I want to create a notebook. Okay. So what notebook you want to create? My notebook name I can say read CSV files. Okay. Read CSV files. Just put read CSV files. In which language you are trying? So today we will focus completely on Python, but later in some time, at least we will take one session on Scala also, because reading and writing is very important part in your Spark. Okay, next, on which cluster you want to submit this, on which cluster you want to run this script which you are writing in this notebook. So I want to select the cluster. So select that cluster, create it. Okay, so we are here, but the cluster is not up yet. So meanwhile, we will start writing our code. So what I wanted to do is to store so three different types of files. Okay, to store three different types of files, I want to create three different folders in my Databricks file system. So if you remember, we can use the dbutils commands or CLI commands to create the like folders inside the Databricks file system. So for that, I'm going to use the dbutils commands, which we have discussed in our previous sessions. dbutils.fs. I want to work with file system. What you want to do? I want to list down the folders which are available in a by default file or default folder. That is file store /tables. Okay, so this is the default path, right? So in this particular default folder, so do you have any subfolders? Let's check it. So if we don't have any folder in it, so I want to create my own folders. So how to create folders? Friends? So let's click new, a new cell. Please be in mute, friends. dbutils. Okay, .fs.mkdars. This is basically, so what, so in this particular default directory, I want to create a subdirectory. Okay, so here I can say CSV file. Okay, this is my folder name is CSV file. This is my first folder. Next, I want to create a one more folder here. You can say it's TSV file, tab separated file, pipe file. So pipe separated file. Okay, so likewise, I'm going to create a three different folders. Next, I also want to create three more folders basically to maintain a multiple files. Example, in these folders, I will maintain one file. Okay, later, what I wanted to do, I want to read a multiple files. To read multiple files, I need to maintain a multiple files in a folder. For that, I'm going to create a three more folders called multi CSV file folder. It's a multi CSV file folder. Next, multi TSV file folder, multi pipeline, multi pipe file folder. Okay, so these are the three different folders. In these three folders, I will just try to upload single file, and in these three files, I will try to in these three folders, I will try to upload two files. Okay, first let's see cluster is up or not. So cluster is still creating. Let's wait, see, cluster is up now. Let's first try to execute our first command. Okay, what is the shortcut? So there are three ways to identify the shortcuts. Just click on this particular question mark. You can see shortcuts one way. Second one is just click on this. Okay. Third one is here. You can see shortcuts. Okay. There are three ways you can identify the shortcuts. So now what is the shortcut? You can shift plus enter to run. So now I am going to use a shortcut instead of using my normal. Okay. Click here, click run cell. Instead of doing that, I want to run something like that. So what it is saying here, file store tables does not exist. How come file store /tables does not exist? Let's execute one more time. Oh, it's surprising. Just click on data once again. We'll verify, add data, DBFS, file store is available, tables is also available. Okay, file store tables available. Let's see, this is the path I'm trying to access. This is my base path. So let's check whether I have given same or any spelling mistakes. Can you check it, friends? File store / tables. Everything is correct, but why it is not giving? See, now it is
After
saying,
tables, there is.
wait. Okay, it is working. Just it is warming up. Don't worry. Now you see it's working. Now you just see you don't have any data in it. That's why it is giving empty list. If you have multiple files, so this list will have a multiple items in it. But currently we don't have any data in it. That's why there is no folders or there is no files in this tables folder. It is giving empty list. Now I want to create this 3 folder. How we can create? Just execute shortcut Shift+Enter. So true means let's see whether it is really created these 3 folders or not. You just again execute ls command. Now you see CSV file, pipeline, TSV. So all these folders created now. Now these 3 folders created. Now I want to create these 3 folders as well. Just execute it. True. So let's just list down again folders which we have here. So CSV file, multi CSV file, multi pipeline, multi TSV, pipe file, TSV file. So in respective folders, I want to upload a respective file. So you know how much time it will take if you upload something like that. How much time it is going to take? So if you try to upload something like that, it is going to take a lot of time. So that's why we have learned something called CLI commands. But if anybody wants to try out with CLI commands to upload the files, you can try that. Okay, but in this particular session, I will show you with UI, because already I have shown you how you can move all your local files into this respective folder. So see, now you just imagine, suppose if I want to upload one file into these folders, I need to access each and every folder independently, and I need to move one by one. It will take more time. If you try to do it everything by using CLI, it will be much more faster. Okay, so the difference we will see one day. Just click on data, because we know already how to upload data into DBFS by using CLI. Let's do it by using UI today. Just click on data, add data, DBF. Don't go to DBFS, come here, upload file, select. See, you are not uploading data directly on the table. You want to upload data into CSV file folder. Select that CSV file folder. Now browse it. Now I want to upload my CSV data. So go to comma separated. First one file I will upload here. It's not a multi CSV file. It's a single file. That's why I uploaded CSV file 1. Done. Okay. Now, okay, just to select another folder. Come back. Now select this again. Now I want to upload all CSV files. Select now multi-select. Okay. Now see, folder selected is multi CSV file. Browse it again. Now you select these 2 files, and one at a time you can able to upload these things. Okay, done, friends. Now again click here, come back. Now select your next folder, that is pipe file folder. Okay, or let's select TSV file. I'm selecting TSV file. You can see it's TSV file. Browse it, click on TSV here. One file I will upload because it's a TSV, it's not a multi TSV file. Okay, just click on DBFS, upload file, select this. Now multi TSV, I'm going with multi TSV. Now in this multi TSV, I will upload my 2 files. Okay, I uploaded 2 files. Now again click here, go back, upload files, select. Now it should be a now pipe file. Okay, just select a pipe file folder, save it, browse it. Now let's go inside this, select single file, open. Okay, you are uploading, it's done. Click on this, go back, select again. It should be multi-pipe file. Okay, save it, browse it. Now I want to move all these 2 files, open it. So it will take like more time here if you are trying to do it by using UI. Okay, now I want to verify each and every folder. Just click on dbfs, file store, table. Let's check one by one. CSV file. Okay, one file we have. Pipeline, we have one. TSP, we have one. Now let's go and see multiple files. Click on multi CSV file 2, multi pipeline. So pipeline file 1, pipeline file 2, multi TSV file 1, TSV file 2. So we have respective files in the respective folders. Okay, so everybody is clear till here. Everybody is clear till here, friends. Thanks, Abhishek. Please respond, friends, so that I will move a little bit fast. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Devashish. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Now, click on recents, click on read CSV files. Now, let me show you the first way of reading the file. That is, Spark is nothing but a Spark session dot read spark.read.csv. So, if it is CSV, I'm putting here CSV. If it is JSON, you have to put JSON. If it is a Parquet, you have to put Parquet. Remember, but the syntax is Spark dot. By using Spark session, I want to read a file. The type of file is CSV. Okay, so what is the file location? Okay, so I need to enter here file location. Here I need to enter file location. Let me enter here file location. Next, here let's try to enter file location and we will try to read. But anybody remember the file location, how to get it? So you don't worry, we know CSV file if you want to read. So this is the folder. So this is the entire path dbfs colon file store table CSV file. Okay, just put it here. But in this CSV file, we have a single file. What is that file? How do you know? So you need to select this folder, and what you need to do is, so here, suppose if I want to know the content which is there inside this particular folder, just give the folder and list down the content which is there in the CSV file folder. So the content which we have is CSV file. So basically, this is the actual path, final path from which I need to read the data. So mention this particular path here. So now what happens is Spark session, I'm reading CSV file from this location. This will create a data frame. Okay, so now I want to show the data, df.show. So you need to use the action called df.show to read the data. Okay, now I am executing by using shortcut shift plus enter. See what is happened. So we we learned three things. There are three important points. One is headers will go into data because header equal to false by default. Header equal to false by default. Next. Second point is by default the delimiter is comma. That's why data is showing in a proper tabular format because it's already available in a comma separated values. So that's why it identified each column separately. Third thing, info schema also by default false. That's why the data type of each column is string, 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 string. What is the default values of your header? Underscore C0, underscore C1, underscore C2, underscore C3. Now, I'll just take same syntax, put it here. Here, I will just mention one point extra, that is header equal to true. And I will just try to read the data. So you see the difference here and here. Here your headers came into the data, but here headers came into the proper position. So when headers came into proper position, when I say header equal to true, when I say header equal to true. Okay, now I want to understand what is the data type of each column. So again, it's a string, but I want to understand really whether it is a string. How you know? Take the syntax. You just add the next option, that is what? Here you need to tell info schema equal to true and execute it. You see here, just expand this, you see it's integer, it's string, integer, integer. But previously it was string, 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 because it is not going to read the data. But when you say info scheme equal to true, it is going to read data once again to identify the data type of each column. Okay, now take this syntax. I want to add my, like by default, I know separator is comma, but I want to mention it separately. Like explicitly, I want to mention my separator equal to comma. Do I have any difference? You see, you will not have any difference because by default it's a comma. So that's why there is no difference here. Okay, you see the data types is integer, string, integer, integer. Clear, friends? Everybody is clear till here? So this is how you need to read a single CSV file. Now we will see how to read multiple CSV files. Now we will see how to read multiple CSV files. So where we have multiple CSV files, if you remember, let's just list down all the content which we have under tables. See, under tables, I have a multi CSV file folder. So now what I wanted to do, so I will just look into the multi CSV file content. In this multi CSV file, what are the files I have? Executed. So there are two files, but whether I need to take this path or this path. Okay. Remember, in these two paths, you need to take the common path from both the files. So for both the files, the common path is till multi CSV file, because in this directory, these two files are available. In this directory, these two files are available. Up to this folder name, you need to mention. Take this, come down now. So here I need to say again, spark.read.csv. Now instead of mentioning the file name, mention just headers. Just to mention up to directory folder. Okay, now it's a df. Now I want to say df.show. Execute it and see. So it's basically player ID, player name, player highest score, number of matches. So this is your first file it read and your second file it read. But it ignored, it is not identify there is a headers in each and every file. So how you will tell there is a header in first file, there is a header in second file. You no need to tell separately to you no need to tell separately that you have a headers in first file and second file. You simply says header equal to true. Okay, just expose. Sorry, I need to take the another. Sorry, let's execute it now. Take this syntax, come down. Let me just put here header. Header equal to true. You see the difference. Execute it. See now, so all the data came properly. But so how you can order data based on this player ID? So all those things we will learn as part of our training. So these are the different transformation we will do. Example, if you want to do order by player ID, just to try to do it. So now what happened? We were not getting. Okay, so can you anybody guess it why it is like this? Very good. So data type is string. So let's see. Let me just show you here. If I tell the data type is proper, info schema equal to true, now data will appear properly. Info schema equal to true. One second. Info schema capitals. Okay, this is case sensitive Python. Okay, see now, like player IDs are proper now. Okay, these kind of transformations, everything we will do in upcoming sessions, not now. See now, here without headers are in the data. But if you say header equal to true, properly data is showing. Like here you have a headers. Maybe data is not in a proper order, but you can see headers are set it into proper position. Now you are able to see the actual data in your data. Now I want to check the data type of each column. You see the data type of each column is again string. So now I want to identify TF equals spark.reader CSV dbfs colon file store slash table slash multi CSV file header equal to true. So df.show. So now what I need to do is, instead of simply saying header equal to 2, I need to say info schema equal to true. Okay, now execute it. So even though you have multiple files, so it is going to identify the data type of each column. So you just imagine when you have a lot of data in big data, means you'll have a millions of records. Okay, some billions of records also you may have based on the client. So when you have so many records, it will be very difficult to read data again to identify the schema again. Okay, that is one thing. Now I will try to give the separator here. Okay, but what is the solution for this? Okay, what is the alternative? What is the alternative solution we have instead of using info schema equal to true, that we will discuss. So that is the alternative solution will provide the best better efficiency. Okay, now you see spark.read.csv dbfs colons file store tables, all these things. Now I try to use a separator equal to comma. We'll see the whether it will change the result and data, or it will be same. You see it will be same because we know separator is comma by default. That's why result it will show as the same. Okay, you can check the data type of each columns change, it is info. Okay, but now we will try to understand. So another syntax we will try to discuss tomorrow because we don't have much time. So at least we will try to understand by using user defined schema how you can read the data. Okay, by using user defined schema how you can read the data. Now, so for that, first thing is you need to understand there are 4 columns. Okay, so you know what is the data type of each column. So now we have to tell explicitly here. Can you tell me player ID is basically what? Integer type. Okay, so this one you can keep it as a one column, one set. This is one set, comma. So next set here is, what is the next column? Player name. Player name is string type. It's a string type. So you need to explicitly mention it's a string type. Good. What is the third column here? It's a player highest score. What is the data type of this? It's a it's a function integer type. Would come here. So what is the final one? Finally, number of matches. Number of matches. The number of matches are, it is also integer type. Okay, this is also integer type. So this particular column name you need to put it in a double quotes. Don't forget. Okay, you have 4 columns. Now all these are your fields. Okay, so those fields are called structure fields. Okay, these are called structure fields. So you need to tell all these are the structure fields. Okay, so these are the 4 columns you have. So one column is going to be one item. So this is going to be one item. 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 So when you have multiple values, by using single variable, I want to define these multiple values. For that, you need to put all these values inside string. So when you put all these values inside string, you need to tell all these are the structure types, meaning struct types. So this is your schema structure type. Okay, this is going to be your S. S is nothing but a schema. You can use schema or like S. Schema equal to structure type, structure field, string type, integer type, integer type. So you need to understand here there are some new words you have learned right here today. struct type, struct field, integer. What are these different things? So these are the different types available in your Spark. So now you need to input all those things for the PySpark.sql dot for types. So from types, you need to import all those things one by one. Don't put star. It is a not a good practice to put star. So if your client is good technical people, they will immediately raise a some improvement or bug. Okay, they will ask you to modify this particular scripts. So what you need to do, whatever function, whatever types you need, only those things you need to import. So now I know I need a structured type. I need a structured type. So you see structured type is there. Next, struct field. So I know structured field that is also available. Next, I need integer type. So you see integer type is there. Next, I need string type. So string type also available. Okay. So likewise, if you need float value, then float type is also available. If you need date, timestamp, so then timestamp type also available. Something like that depends on requirement. Whatever you are using here, based on that you need to import it. So my schema is available now. By using this schema, I need to read. Now you see how I am reading. Spark dot read dot CSV file I am trying to read. So from which location? Maybe you can read the entire directory instead of reading single file. Take this directory and put here that path. Okay. Now I'll just try to read the data. df.show. What will happen now? Something is problem. What it is saying? Type object integer type integer. It's correct. Let's put something like this. Let's get it now. Type object is this list. Everything you need to close. So you need to take this entire list inside it like struct type. Now it will work. See now, what is the data type of each column? Can you check? String, 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 and default is C0, C1, C2. So your headers are in data. We know how we can modify this. We just have to put header equal to true. Now you execute it. So now still you see string, string, string. But now this time I don't want to use info schema equal to true, because if you use info schema equal to true, it will read the data. So instead of that, you need to schema equal to schema. So that's why I just wanted to use S here. What is S? This variable. This one I will modify to S. So this entire schema you have created, that is assigning to a variable called S. That S I am using. Schema equal to this S variable has some value. That is going to be my schema. Okay. Let's say df.show now. See now integer, string, integer, integer. So now it has changed. So this is the you need to use user defined schema to read the CSV files instead of saying info schema equal to true. Okay, clear? Any doubts here? Okay, now next thing is I will try to put here like just try to use. We have seen already header equal to true. We have seen. Now I'm just using schema equal to S. After that, I will just try to use separator equal to comma. So what will happen if I use separator equal to comma, separator equal to if I use comma, what is going to happen now? So you see now the separator is going to be comma, but there is no change because all my data is separated with comma. Okay, so this is how you need to use schema, and you need to use separator to read the data. Okay, any questions here, friends?
If usually flat files will have hello
Yeah, tell me.
if usually flat files will have lot of columns, maybe more than 10-15 columns,
Yes.
and every time providing this data type is not ideal. What is the ideal situation? Is there a way we can read it from some table or something, data types?
first thing you need to understand why it is difficult. So even if you have 250 columns, 1000 columns, in real time we are going to mention, because you just think you are saying for understanding the data type of this column, like to entering these 1000 columns data type is difficult for us. So then just think, as a program, if it is trying to read those many columns of data again, it is reading second time, how much time it is going to take? So that's why in real time, whether we have 250 columns or 1000 columns, doesn't matter. We are going to use this particular way, like because this is a user defined schema we will use. Now, next thing, your question. So every time we are mentioning, why we will mention every time? Because it's a fixed. So when you say customer data, you will have a fixed number of columns. Whether you are loading today or tomorrow, doesn't matter. It is not going to change the number of columns and schema. It is always same. You are going to define a user defined schema only once. And whether you are processing, whenever you process, you are going to use same schema. So whenever something changed in the source, so that's why what happens, whenever they are changing something, we will have a change management. So what happens? So there will be a lot of approval process will be there. So in that approval process, they will come to us as well. So as a developer, you need to think the impact. So how much code you are going to change for this? Example, they are trying to add some new column in your source. So that particular column, you need to change it in your script. So what all things you need to change in your code, you need to analyze those things, and you, based on that, you need to discuss and give the approval for making those changes. Okay, so that's so in real time we are going to define the schema like user defined schema only we will use. It's not going to
Hey, Malaya, just sorry to ask. Like, so if you are really not aware of the data type and like, imagine like it's a real-time data, kind of sensor data and other things. So that time it's difficult to declare the data type, right? So like
see, first thing,
sometimes, so it,
identify from where you will get all this data first. Don't think
uh,
it is not, you don't know. See, first thing is you need to understand. So first time, suppose if you don't know, okay, suppose example, I don't know. Okay, what you can do, first time you try to read a file which you received from the source, and use the info schema equal to true. Then you will get the schema. So based on this schema, what is the column, what is the data type, you can identify. Based on that, you can define the schema. Okay, next one, once you read the data with header equal to true, now, so what happens, it is printing something like this, right? So you can use some other functions also to display entire schema. Df dot print schema, sorry, print schema, just execute it. So it is going to give, so this is integer type, it's nullable equal to true, nullable equal to true. So all these columns are accepting the null values. Okay, all these things you will get it. But if you want to get this particular data, you need to use whether user defined schema or you need to use a info schema equal to true. As I said, if you don't know first time, you can use info schema equal to true while when you are developing the code, and based on that you can put what is the data type of each column, because from next time when it is processing, it should not read the data to identify. You have to hard code the data type of each column. Okay, any questions?
Malaya, in the table, can we like assign the alignment like right, left, middle? So by default, it is like right alignment, right?
What do you mean title?
Like we can assign like a central in the table, like we have like five columns, plate name, and like this is like,
Oh, the columns arrangement you want to do?
yeah.
Yeah, you can do. So example, yeah, those and all you can come to know, but let me show you if you want now. Example, you have something like this, df dot columns. If you ask df dot columns, it will give you the columns. Okay, this is the column list we have. Now this order of for these columns, if you want to change, example, this is the calls. Okay, columns we have. These columns you want to change, maybe you want a player ID, then you want something player highest score. Okay, something I'm just mentioning, and is number of matches, or maybe you want in a different way. Example, player name you want at the beginning. So what you need to do, you just select something like that, you can arrange. So based on that, you can put here, you just have to select DF. So DF is having data, right? So on the DF, you have to say select. I want to select what you want to select, calls. So when you select again columns, so whatever order, in which order you have given, so in same order you will get the columns. You see now DF1 dot show. Execute it now. See player name first, player ID, player highest score, number of matches. But you may ask again, so this is not you are changing manually, but I don't want to change. I don't want to touch these things. So I want in a reverse way. Then what you can do here, I have used something called df.calls. Okay. So these df.calls you can use. So this list of values you can able to reverse it. Example, player ID, player name, player highest score, number of matches we have. This is the list of columns, right? These list of columns you can able to reverse it. Everything you can able to do. So because you will be able to understand all these things once we discuss Python. Because in Python we will see how to change these particular order of the list items. All those things we will discuss in Python. Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Next, any other questions? Quickly, please let me. Abhishek, clear or still? Please let me know if you are not clear on that.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, Netra, clear, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.